Hello, America, how are you? TGIF, July 3rd. Tomorrow's the big Celebrate America holiday. Yeah, 4th of July is a big deal. It's my father's birthday. Of course, I haven't talked to him in every bit of 17 years, but that's a lie. 15 years, maybe 14. But he's going to be 82. He was born in 1938. And when we were little, on his birthday, he used to do all these weird challenges because he was a kind of a fitness Nazi. And he would go to like the local track at Heidelberg and he'd run laps, like one lap for every year of his age. So I remember like on his 32nd birthday and his 33rd birthday, and we would sit in the car and watch him run and listen to the radio. And I'll never forget listening to American Pie while he ran laps and just belting out the tune like we freaking had any idea what we were singing about. It's funny, it's a weird memory. And also Sweet Caroline, I remember that too. I don't know if those were the same year or if those were different years, but funny stuff. Okay, so I've gotten a lot of feedback from my friends and followers about what this pain could be. Some are thinking it could be gallbladder, maybe pancreatitis. In any case, Monday at 8:30 a.m., I'm going to find out. I'm demanding a continuity of care, and I'm demanding that of my primary care physician. And as consumers of health insurance and health benefits, we should be demanding the absolute best from our primary care physicians. And I encourage everyone to stand up for themselves and be their own best advocate. And if you have someone in your family that can't advocate for themselves, you be their advocate too. Because medical advocacy is a real thing. In this time where there's a rise in concierge physicians who, take care of everything, like one doctor that does everything for everyone, at a high price, at a premium, many people are turning to this as an alternative to what our healthcare system is offering us, because they're wanting that continuity of care, that feeling that one person takes care of everything. And there's just something to be said about that. So just putting that out there. My hair's a mess. I washed my hair yesterday for the first time since I got it cut and colored, and then I fell asleep. I'm tired. I need a lot of rest. So there's that. Did a total body workout, total body project workout this morning with my daughters. After a 25-minute conversation about body shaming and fat shaming and self-loathing and low self-esteem and telling the truth to ourselves about what our bodies really are and how offhanded comments that people say really affect us. And Leah harkened back to a time, and literally I'm going to tell you she was like 8 or 9, maybe 10, but I don't think so. I don't think she was that old. Where I took her to the doctor for her, annual well check. And our regular doctor wasn't available, so a nurse practitioner, took care of Leah. And, Leah was always an athletic kid. Like, she played 3 sports almost her entire life at the same time: basketball, soccer, softball. There was a time she was doing gymnastics, soccer, and basketball. Basketball, soccer, and horseback riding. Like, she's an active kid, okay? Always active. Never a time she wasn't active. Now, when she was little, she hadn't really grown yet, so she was, not completely mature. And this nurse practitioner weighed my daughter and measured her height, and, we're short people, and came in and said to Leah, in front of Leah, to me, that Leah was obese. And I said, no, she's not. And she goes, yeah, based on her height and weight ratio, she's considered obese. And I said, she's fucking 8. And she goes, well, she really needs to lose some weight. And I was like, okay, we're gonna go. So I take Leah, we walk out, Leah breaks down hysterical, and that lived with her. That is embedded in her psyche, that she's obese, that she's a fat child, and now a fat grown-up. And it's a fat lie. I immediately went and called the doctor, spoke to my doctor, and I said, That woman will never see my children again. I don't want her anywhere near my kids. If I make an appointment and you're not available, don't fucking send her in the room. I said, that is totally and completely uncalled for, off base. That's bullshit. I won't tolerate it. And my doctor was like, okay, Danny, calm down. Like, literally, he told me to calm down. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? This is my child. And now you've labeled her with something that, as a woman, we hold on to that shit. Words are weapons. They wound sometimes. And he was like, okay, I'll make a note in the chart and da-da-da-da. And literally, we never saw her again. I mean, I saw her throughout the office, but she wasn't allowed to talk to my kids. If we went in for an urgent visit and she was the only one there, and I would call and they'd say, well, you have to see Hootie. I can't remember her name right now. I mean, I remember her name, I think. Anyways, I would say, like, no, we're going to the ER. We're going to urgent care. I wouldn't let that bitch near my kids. Let's pretend like you do a quick ratio and you look at the kid and you're like, oh, she's a little chunky because she's 8. She hasn't grown into her body yet. She hasn't matured. Why in the fuck would you say that to her? Now, I mean, I get it that there are some young kids that are struggling with issues of weight and maybe, they're prone to diabetes and that there's some family history there. But, I mean, look at my people. We're not big people. Even though I'm filled with self-loathing and tons of body shaming and all of that, and I've done it my whole life, even when I weighed 98 pounds, I still thought that I was fat. That's a mental disorder, okay? That's not reality. And these are medical professionals. Like, there's so much layered in those kind of statements, especially when you make it to a female. So to this day, she still has these feelings about herself, which are completely, patently untrue, and it hurts me. I mean, she still refers back to this time. And it's really upsetting. I remember when they used to do the physical fitness challenge, in elementary school, and there was at one point that they made a comment on her fitness challenge thing, again, about her size. And I fucking went insane. Like, I wrote to the school board. I called people. I called the school. I was like, get that off her fucking permanent record. Are you guys crazy? And now look at her. She's beautiful, well-proportioned, active, healthy, young lady. And why would you label them? It's a bad thing that they do to kids. And it's like the opposite of true. Oh, she's so skinny. She's a fucking rail. Rah, 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 rah. And then you don't think of yourself as feminine or any of those positive affirmations that girls should be telling themselves their whole life. It doesn't matter what mom and dad say. If you go to a medical professional and they say you're overweight or you're too skinny or whatever. And I remember saying to this fucking stupid woman, she's a fucking athlete. Are you kidding me? Like, I actually thought I needed to argue with this dumbass. I should have just punched her in the face. That's what I wanted to do. But anyways, that's how these messages get embedded deep in their brains. And I know how mine got there because my dad essentially labeled us and body shamed us. And I'm sure he thought he was being, like, motivating, but he wasn't. He was being an asshole. Like, my nickname was a fat name. It was Boots, Boots, Boots. Now, there was a family that lived next door, and they had a cat named Boots, and we used to always say, that's the fattest cat we've ever seen. That was my nickname. Now, my dad, to this day, denies that he named me after the fat cat, that my nickname was because I always wore boots, like these little cowboy boots. I was like, what fucking family did you grow up in? First of all, I never had boots. That's bullshit. You named me after the fat cat. Live with it. My sister Sid was always called Stick. She was very skinny. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's fucked up. And we need to be really, really, really cautious of that when you give your kid a nickname. So Leah's nickname is Lolly. Lolly. That's not a bad name. That doesn't connote anything except maybe a lollipop. I don't know. And Grace's nickname is Tootie. And it was, I don't know how that came to be, Tootie. But it's not Tootie, and it's not Booty, and it's not Fatty, and it's not Flubby, and it's not Skinny, and it's not anything. It doesn't have anything to do with anything. It's just little nicknames. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But when you give kids a nickname that connotes something about their body, it imprints on them, and they live with it. And I've lived with that my whole life, that I was fat. I always thought that I was fat. I was told that I was fat. People told me I was fat. My family told me I was fat. I believed that I was fat. So no matter what happened to my body in any part of my life, in any part of my lifetime, and it's 57 years of fucked up, I always thought I was fat. And that's a problem. And like I said, it's a mental problem. That's not a physical that's not a reflection of my physical self. It's like I used to say all the time, I don't walk into the store and go to like size 22. Do you know what I mean? I know what I look like. I mean, I don't know what I look like. I know I have a relative understanding of where I fit in the spectrum, but for my personal beliefs, like, I can pinch some fat. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. It's so dangerous. It's so damaging. And there's a lot of work that still needs to be done around that. And hopefully, as I told Leah, you really need to talk to someone about this. Like, you probably need therapy because your body dysmorphia is big. It's huge. It's a problem. And then I say to other females, friends or foes, and boys especially, you just don't talk about other people's bodies. You just don't. And like, you can't compare yourself. Lee has a lot of really tall friends. I mean, you can't compare your body to their body. They've got 6, 7, 8, 9 inches on you. Like, if we took her body and stretched it out over a 5'11" frame, she'd be considered emaciated. Do you know what I mean? So it's fucked up. And she's an athlete. She's still an athlete, even though she's not actively playing a sport. She has a very athletic build. Anyways, I don't want to keep talking about it. It's just it gets me so worked up. And then, the opposite's out right now. Like, there's that singer Lizzo who, she's a big girl and she, wears all these provocative clothes that you don't normally associate with big girls. But she said, she came to this place in her life where she was like, it's just not about what the scale says or what society tells me. Like, I love myself and I love every inch of me. And that kind of acceptance I've always admired so much, because it must be so freeing not to have constant thoughts in your head all the time of that you're fat, or that you don't look good in certain things because you're overweight, or that's not appropriate to wear because of the way your body looks. Do you know what I mean? Like, that must be so freeing. I'm so envious of that. And here we're coming up on a holiday weekend where a lot of people are going to be wearing shorts and tank tops and bathing suits and laying out at the pool and trying to feel good about themselves. And I say, do it. Do it. The only person who defines what you feel like and what you look like is you. You need to define that for yourself. Do you know what I mean? So if you modulate calories in with activity out, and that's in a good ratio, you're going to be fine no matter what is reflected in the physical state. It's just a balancing act. Okay, enough about that. So last night we had our first vegan meal. It was so good, let me tell you. So we had a chef come and cook for us because we're dorks and we don't know anything about cooking vegan. And he left me with a cookbook this thick, so I'm going to read through it and get some recipes. But it was great. I mean, Boyd loved it. The girls loved it. It was so good. And I'm leaning to it more and more. I mean, I think we're going to, the thing is we eat fish once a week. Like, that's our family fish day. So that's probably going to have to go by the wayside, potentially. No, definitely, because that's not plant-based. But you know what? If we ate plant-based 6 days a week and had fish one day, I don't think anything bad will happen. We're not going to be purists. We're not going to be militant about it. We're going to ease ourselves into it. Great. Leah and I are going groceries today. We're going to get our vegan hot dogs and our Beyond Burgers, and we're going to have a 4th of July barbecue, and it's going to be perfect, exactly the way we want it to be. I'm going to get through the weekend with whatever comes my way, pain-wise, and as long as it's not acute, I'm going to get through it, and Monday morning I'm going to go to the doctors. I'm going to advocate for Danny. So I appreciate everyone's love and support and help that I've gotten to get through what I've been getting through. And, all power. Oh, Thomas is mad as a hornet. What's he mad about? Somebody probably needs to feed him. That somebody will be me. All right, I love you guys. Stay strong out there. Happy 4th of July. And wear a mask. Keep your mask on. If you're in public, put a mask on. You don't need to go to a bar. You don't need to go to a restaurant. You don't need to go to a beach. Make your own fun. put a mask on. Or stay home, then you don't have to wear a mask. How about that? Okay, love you. Bye.